You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. It's zombie takeout. Makes it stupid. Hello and welcome to Zombie Takeout, the B movie and cult movie show. I'm John.
And I'm Scotto.
And we're back from vacation, of course. And
Yeah.
I
What
took.
did we miss?
Oh, I really can't think of anything interesting movie news wise. But I took a very different approach to both of these weeks. First week, I was kind of just did my normal routine, but had family over on Wednesday, and it was a pretty busy week. I talked to Appleine on Skype a couple of times. Just didn't happen to have to do an episode. Last week I completely relaxed, did as little as possible, was very unproductive. I actually, I wrote a 7-page script, but that took 2 hours throughout the week. So it was a little casual writing. I critiqued Tom Norman's upcoming movie.
Oh wow!
But it was a very chill week, and I realized I get bored the second week. I'm normally the kind of person who would rather do nothing than even something I enjoy, but I got really bored. It was weird.
There was zero chill for me. In fact, we made plans in early August to get the hell out of town and just to do nothing. But everything has been either family or work or, So I'm exhausted still.
All right, so without any further ado, on to this week's movie, which is from 1995, Sorceress.
Yes, it's a good thing we shared links.
Yeah.
Or else this whole episode would be 2 different movies.
Yes, and this is our first Skinamax movie, Cinemax for those who aren't on that joke, and our first Julie Strain movie. And of course, that brings us to the impromptu plot summary. Oh, it also continues our fantasy shit trilogy. And on to the impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Softcore. It's the wine cooler of pornography.
And also brought to you by Skinamax, where all the really good stuff happens just off camera.
And they get into even more ridiculous positions than in the hardcore stuff.
Yeah. Who has a dick coming out of their belly button? But anyway, so we begin with the fine how do you do?
They get straight to the point.
Boy, was I really bushed when I started this, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, we begin. I don't know. I had a vacation, so I'm a little rusty with my Borscht Belt jokes. So she's casting a spell on a lawyer who just had a promotion, and because she wanted her husband to get a promotion, because he was the one that was actually in line for it, but for some reason he just didn't get it, and so somehow the wife of this lawyer, sensed this was about to happen. I don't know how she
had to die. Yeah.
That he needed to pull over because something was about to happen to him, and they begin with with the spell being cast and a car crash in the first reel. So I of course wondered, like, what were they do for the rest of the budget of this film? But so what we have are a group of witches, and it feels like whatever I say here is irrelevant anyway because of the stupid ending, which really fucking pisses me off more than anything else. But it really, the troublemaker, they lead you to believe that the person causing the black magic is the wife of Larry, who gets killed in the first reel also, and pretty much thrown out a window by Larry.
Off of a porch, basically.
Off a porch. And for some reason, Larry is not charged for murder or even thought about it. The thought never even comes up in the movie. This dude throws his wife off a porch balcony.
Accidentally.
I mean, there's like a clear sign of a struggle,
Oh yeah.
you know? I mean, it's not a stretch to be like, you killed your wife,
Well,
dude.
no, I'm just making clear that he didn't straight up murder her.
Well, right, right. From what we could see, there was a struggle, but how do you explain black magic curses
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
to law enforcement?
Yeah.
So, it never comes up though, so don't worry about it. um, and maybe the ending kind of explains that a little bit, because that's the only possibility why he would never get charged with murder.
These kinds of movies aren't meant to be thought about. They're meant to direct the blood in a different direction.
Of course, but we've got a job to do.
Oh yeah, I know.
And but the real culprit of all the trouble is the wife of the lawyer who was in that accident, who could no longer walk after that accident either, and decided he no longer wanted the promotion either, and was quitting law and just going to sit at home with his evil wife.
He didn't know it was evil yet.
Right. It took him a while to figure out that she was evil, uh, putting curses upon everybody, and apparently easily being able to possess people. But I guess Linda Blair's had
Yeah, I mean,
a
she went
decades-long
from
career of possessing people.
Yeah, she went from the possessed to the possessor.
Yeah, and so I have a painting party, and
Couple of threesomes.
there's well, yes, he sees a lot of things in his head about his ex, or late wife, I guess you would say. And but really the only pussy you see in this film is Larry, honestly, though. Spoiler alert. And then the painting party, of course, leads to murders, or attempted murders.
Oh yeah, she doesn't die. Amazing.
Very, very sloppily executed murders. I mean, if you want to go get a possessed person. And spoiler alert, don't watch the end because it really sucked.
And I just have to wonder, like I said, it gets straight to the point, but it also, in like the second scene, shows you that Michael Parks is in this movie. Why?
Well, right. Linda Blair and Edward Albert had to have cost some money, you know?
And Michael Parks. It's,
Yeah.
It's like has-beens and bad actors. Although most of them are still working.
Yeah.
Those who are still with us. Julie Strain hasn't worked since 2009. I found out a couple of days ago that she has been diagnosed with severe dementia. So yeah, she's retired. And Christy Ducati, who was the girlfriend of the guy from New York, hasn't worked in since like the late 90s.
Edward Albert, of course, is no longer with us.
Yeah. Michael Parks passed away last year.
Yeah.
But, a number of the cast members are still working, including Larry.
In what kind of films is Larry still working in?
No, mainstream stuff. Mostly
Really?
guest stars. He had a run on a soap opera. Mostly like one shots,
Well, we all know soap operas are really just porn without the scenes.
Yeah. And Linda Blair has made some interesting career choices as well.
Well, right.
But the first thing that really made me kind of and I won't say shake my head. I'll make this made these kind of movies amuse me. I'll just be honest about that. When I can't think of the character's name. Edward Albert, his character. The lawyer who was attacked in the beginning in the car.
Yeah.
When he passes out and somehow opens the door to the car and dives out. The car goes right off the edge of a ledge of some sort, like off of a broken bridge or something, which he was apparently already driving toward.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't turn the car, it doesn't get diverted at all. He was driving in this direction to begin with.
Driving on the bridge that was out.
Yeah. Although I will say that Julie Strain has always had kind of a Jeffrey Combs appeal to me.
Oh, yeah?
She's got that overactor thing, that, entertaining overactor.
Right. And yeah, she was a good part of this, really.
Although they killed her in the first 10 minutes. You
Yeah,
kill
but
the main draw in the first 10 minutes. You have to know she's coming back as a ghost or something.
yeah,
And then we get the opening credits, and we find out that it's actually not called Sorceress, but Temptress.
it,
And also, although I have notes saying it's Temptress 2, but apparently it was Temptress 1. Um,
yes.
so the writer from, oh, actually, do you want to get into that story?
Well, right. See, I thought because we were doing a sorted or fantasy shit trilogy, and we bring up the name Sorceress. Well, I remember back from long ago, the days of watching really bad movies on like Showtime or whatever late at night.
Right.
That the movie Sorceress uh, was an actual sword and sorcery, movie.
Ah.
Kind of based off like the Corsican twins, only with women as the
Oh,
twin
okay.
instead of guys.
Mm.
And so, luckily, you shared the link of the movie we
Yeah.
were doing together because I would have looked for the one from 1982
Uh-huh.
to have watched and would have been very surprised. Now,
And I made it very clear, this is a Skinamax movie, in other words, softcore.
which I mean, the other one kind of was too. Like I
Mm.
said, it was a
Yeah.
movie you'd see on Showtime after hours, sort of thing.
And I don't think it will surprise anybody who's been watching or listening to us for a while, but I watched a lot of these kinds of movies, the Skinamax, a lot of Julie Strain movies, back in the day. And I figured, we've never reviewed one before. And
Now
Julie Strain is an icon, so we should do one of her movies.
the
And the
kicker is, of course, that this 1982 Sorceress that I was thinking of, John
Mhm.
Wynorski, is the same guy. He wrote the Sorceress
The 82 Sorceress and directed the 95 one.
and directed this movie that we're reviewing right now.
And the first sex scene happens in the first 16 minutes of the movie.
Which is quite a might be a record for a
Yeah, yeah.
Cinemax movie. I mean, that's
And it's slightly more believable than the pool scene in Showgirls. Of course, it briefly turns into a threesome before they pull away from that.
right.
And we get another one, kind of brief sex scene, like less than a minute later. Now, one little pet peeve. Apparently, Larry's wife, Erica, Julie Strain's character, was a fan of Debussy, the composer.
Yeah.
Except Larry kept pronouncing it as Debussy.
I've heard his name pronounced like that
You have? Okay. I've
before.
always heard it as Debussy.
Huh.
Okay, maybe it's an either or thing. I just kept picturing Gary Busey in a
Busey.
composer's version.
I made some music.
And then we get this random chick who gets shot. We don't know anything about it. We have no idea who she is, what she has to do with the movie.
Well, right. That was the first like, oh wow, there's something else going on. I mean, naturally, we've got Linda Blair and Edward Albert here, so like that's weird. And Michael Park. And then yeah, suddenly there's someone else getting shot. It's kind of like, wait,
Who's
okay.
she? Wait. Because they don't introduce her at all. They don't establish what her connection is to what we've seen. And we've met Michael Park's character. She turns out she's Michael Park's character's wife.
Right.
The gardener. He's the gardener and she's his wife. And so, it could have been very easy to just establish that relationship. And then she gets shot and, oh, okay, this is how this all connects. They don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know if they were doing that as a storytelling device or just
Stan, that's the character's name. I'm sorry.
they'll figure it out. And really, we did figure it out, so it wasn't even that big a deal that they just
Right.
threw us into it. In
But
fact, it
did
was
we
kind of
need
neat. It kind of sucked you in a little
Okay,
bit,
you enjoyed it. I kind of wondered if we needed that extra subplot because there's like three plots going on in this movie at once.
But just as you like getting like, wow, this could be something interesting. Then they have the scene where Michael Park goes to Larry's office.
Uh-huh. His overacting was fun for me.
It was. That was good.
And they really made a show of Larry putting that letter opener on the desk. They really made sure you saw that.
But probably one of the most ridiculous exchanges of this whole fucking movie was after that whole like fight and everything in that office. Larry's boss comes in and just was like, uh, what happened in here? Are you all right?" And Larry just turns to him, "Just a minor altercation." And the boss's reaction, "Okay." I was like, dude, could you imagine in your office that like there was a big brawl in your fucking ear, and you're just
Mhm.
kind of like, "Oh yeah, so that happened."
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk to you about something, Larry. That was it.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the reaction to this fight in his office. That like did Park die in that scene too, or no?
No, he's
No,
shot.
Park escaped. That's right,
Yeah,
and then he
he
got
ran
shot.
off.
All
He really couldn't do action.
right.
I mean, the fight choreography was hilarious, but
Oh,
it's
right. It was just. I'm trying to remember the movie where they just fucking break shit, and that's the fight scene.
he was a really good actor. Particularly recommend him in Red State. But
Yeah.
watching him run out of that building, it was like watching a toddler run. But then Larry gets home, and Maria, his wife's, Erica's friend, who she had the threesome with, is on the bed. And they have this little altercation. Actually, come to blows,
Right.
and then it looks like
Well,
he.
they don't show that sort of thing on
Well,
Skin.
no. Well,
What? Huh?
there's a couple of slaps, and then it looks like he's about to rape her. He stops, but then it turns out she wants it. And then in the next scene, they're just casually chatting.
Of course. Happens all the time.
Oh,
Just
I
like
have,
a fight in your office.
yeah,
What just happened? Oh, this ex girlfriend came over, and we started fighting, and then fucked, and then that was it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was sad to see Stan, Michael Park's character, get shot because he really made the movie for me.
Yeah.
And although, are we supposed to be surprised that Linda Blair's character is a witch?
I don't
Because
know. She usually plays the good guy, I
well,
thought,
yeah, she's
most
usually
movies.
a nicer character, but she's just kind of hanging around pointlessly in the background for most of the movie.
Yeah.
She's not really a part of the movie up until like 45 minutes in, an hour in, when we find out she's a witch.
Which is nice because you think it is one direction. You think he's just been cursed by his, late wife, when in fact she's been sitting back because she
Mhm.
is the puppet master.
Well, yeah, yeah. But it's kind of like that scene from The Simpsons where there's the big gang fight in their backyard. And Homer says, the little guy is going to do something. It's going to be really cool, and I'm not going to be here to see it. You,
I wish I'd seen that one.
there's this big, like the Italian mafia and the Japanese, the Yakuza are fighting in their backyard. And there's this little Japanese guy in a white suit, standing there watching the whole thing.
Oh,
And
odd job.
Marge is pulling Homer inside, and he says, that little guy's going to do something, and it's going to be really cool, and I'm not going to see it. For the whole movie, Linda Blair was the little guy who was going to do something really cool that we weren't going to see, or we did see eventually. But I kind of had
Well,
that that scene in the back of my head, like waiting for her to do something
did
interesting.
we really see her do something cool with
Well,
this?
to do something in the movie, to have a
Well, true.
role.
True.
So I was not at all surprised when she turned out to be the evil witch. Um,
She really had a bad job, did a bad job of just finishing up things, you know?
yeah, yeah.
She left everything, and it was her ultimate undoing, just leaving things half done.
Mhm.
A conk on the head is not the same as killing someone. That's what I've learned from this
But
movie.
that's an old trope. Just take a candelabra, no, a candlestick to somebody's head, and they're as good as dead.
But they weren't, of course.
No, of course not. I did get a kick out of the obvious Winston product placement. Kathy, the New York guy's girlfriend, hands him cigarettes out of his one drawer, and you can clearly
Uh,
see Winston on them.
and what was
Although,
with his friend who was doing the old gangsta talk,
yeah, yeah,
See, I mean, they weren't New York lawyers either. They were
no,
Californians,
he was just doing a ridiculously over the top New York accent.
Yeah, it was really weird and out of place.
And
He was probably the worst actor
yeah, yeah, but he
in the
was
whole thing.
amusing to watch.
Oh, well, maybe
And
the boss. The boss was like a fucking wooden sculpture, but he was just doing this crazy character that had
I
no
think the
place
boss
there. See?
was a cameo. I think that may have been Fred Olen Ray. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, but then they pulled out the too stupid to get out of jury duty joke. What do they? The jury didn't go in Larry's favor, and he says, "What do they know? They were 12 people who were too stupid to get out of jury duty." They actually went for that joke.
That's your job, man.
Oh, incidentally, I kind of glossed over, but threesome number two was a bit more extensive. A lot of brown nosing in this movie, if you will. And then, of course, Linda Blair's character is revealed to be the villain, and she ties Stan, who's in a wheelchair, to his wheelchair. He gets out, kind of falls out of the chair, and one of the wheels comes off.
Oh, maybe a good title for this episode would have been A Woodchuck Named Desire.
Apparently, there was a woodchuck early in the movie that I missed.
Well, it's at Linda Blair's altar.
Oh, okay.
There's
I
some
wasn't paying attention.
strange bronze animal holding
Oh,
like a
okay.
heart, I think, or something like that. And I was like, "What?" And it really just distracted me. I was like, "What
Ah.
is that? What is the thing? What is that supposed to be?"
I just thought I probably figured it was some kind of idol, whatever.
Oh
But
yeah,
he dives out of the chair, and one of the wheels comes off, and it's an old school hospital chair. It's not the wheels don't come off, and it wouldn't have broken off just because he dove out of it. They actually, set it up to do that stunt, and I don't get why.
it made it more dramatic, I guess. I don't know.
And
It
then
didn't, though, honestly.
no. And then when Kathy is passed out in the shower because she took a candlestick to the head, the water is pooling up and she's drowning.
Yeah,
The water is pooling up in a shower.
because she's blocking the drain. I don't understand any of that.
And then, the new girlfriend, who was being possessed by Linda Blair to kill everybody, well, to kill Larry because she's Stan's husband, and she blamed Erica
she
for
possessed her to kill both
to
their
Larry.
friend and yeah, I don't understand what
She wanted
that
to
was
get revenge
about.
on Larry for what Erica did, causing her husband, to end up in the wheelchair. So she ends up possessing Larry's new girlfriend, who tries to mimic Erica's appearance, who dyes her hair and tries to turn into her, which completely disgusts him. But then she goes after them with a knife. She slashes across the New York guy's girlfriend's chest. You think she's dead. I figured I would have bought it if that killed her, frankly.
Right.
She kind of half stabs Larry in the shoulder. But then after, Linda Blair's character gets killed and it breaks the spell, and, apparently everything's totally hunky-dory because they know she was possessed.
Somehow.
And she says to Kathy, "Are you all right?" And Kathy says she thinks she's all right, even though she has a gash right across her chest. I mean, I'm glad it didn't automatically kill her because that would have been a little ridiculous, but just to say, I think I'm all right.
But they take it one step further than this, and I'm fine with spoiling the ending.
Okay, what was the part that bothered you then? Because I don't remember it, if it's not what I just said.
It was all a dream.
Oh, I totally blanked on that, right. Yeah, he wakes up and yeah, Erica's right.
They
Erica.
throw the headphones off and storm away from the computer kind of ending.
I only get mad if that happens in something that was actually good.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, they went painstakingly like, "Oh, everybody's gonna be okay." They all survived this kind of thing. That wasn't cheesy enough. No, they had to make it play it was only just a dream card when he wakes back up with his, well, who he thought was dead, deceased wife.
Yeah, Julie Strain, Erica, standing right there.
Like, oh,
I kind of saw it as
have a bad dream.
I kind of saw it as a big bum because it meant none of that has happened yet. Maybe it's going to happen. But one last bit of trivia: Julie Strain and Linda Blair never seen together in the same scene in the movie,
No.
but they have been in another movie together. It was in Julie Strain's first movie, Repossessed, from 1990. They
That's a movie we should do too, by the way.
she had Julie Strain had a small role as a nude woman in a locker room, but again, they were never on camera together.
That Repossessed is a classic.
Is that the one with Leslie Nielsen?
I think so. I think
Okay, yeah, we need to
I think
review
like
that.
everybody's in that. I think like Hulk
Okay.
Hogan and Mean Gene Okerlund are in that.
Wow. Yeah, we need to review it. All right, on to sequels and remakes.
On to sequels and remakes.
There was a sequel in 1997, Sorceress 2, or possibly Temptress 2 or 3, whatever. On to brains.
On to brains.
I find these kinds of movies amusing. All of the sex kind of just adds this air of ridiculousness to them with the bad acting, and they're just really good B movies to me. So I'm going to go 3.
I gotta take something off for the for that.
Yeah.
When you play the "It's Just a Dream" card, I have to call you out on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a brain off that and make it 2.
All right, and what have we learned?
Why couldn't Edward Albert get paid?
Or Linda Blair.
Well, I kind of understand why Linda Blair couldn't get paid,
Okay.
but Edward Albert, I thought had some chops.
And I learned that he'll never be rid of her.
Never.
And
Just
that's it. Yeah. That's it for Sorceress. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, and we'll be reviewing Deathstalker 2, finishing up the trilogy. If you remember our review of Deathstalker, you'll understand why I said it that way.
Which, by the way, is also directed by John Wynorski.
Oh God! So this was a good pick for the trilogy.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I've dreaded a movie this much since 50 Shades.
And I've seen this one before, and I know how bad it is. Just go again. I know how bad this movie is.
And I hated the first one, so it cannot be better.
I'm telling you, the first one is better than this.
Oh shit! Until then,
I was very surprised by the first one. How like, wow, this doesn't suck nearly as bad as the second one.
Until then, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you
are.